On the first question, point A is to be graphed in a quadrant, not on an axis, and it says that both x and y have the same signs. In quadrant 1, x and y are both positive, and in quadrant 3, x and y are both negative, so the correct answer was E. For the right triangle, as shown, what is the tangent of B? Well, angle B is up here, and tangent is opposite leg, which is C, over adjacent leg, which is A. So C over A, which is J, is the correct answer. The function is y is equal to sine of x, and then you're told there's another function, y is equal to sine of x plus A, which would be a horizontal shift, plus B, which would be a vertical shift. Well, if you'll notice, these are not, they're at the same heights. So this was not shifted vertically, which means B has to be 0. So the correct answer is A. On this problem, you have the right triangle, and you're told that its cosine is 3/4. Well, the cosine of L, which is the angle up here, is the adjacent leg, LM, over the hypotenuse. Well, if that is the cosine, we know cosine is 3/4. We can set those two things equal and solve. So when you solve, you can cross multiply to solve. You would multiply the 22 times the 3, and then you can divide that answer by your 4, and your answer was 16.5. So the answer should have been G. Question 5, what is the x-coordinate of the point in standard form where the two lines intersect? So one quick way to do that is to graph it in your graphing calculator. And if you graph the two lines in your calculator, they will intersect at the point 2, 3. So the x coordinate of the point was D. For the tangent of alpha equals x over y, you should basically sketch a picture of this situation. So you'll notice if the legs of the right triangle are x and y, and they have to be if this is tangent, then the hypotenuse, I just called it z. We know x squared plus y squared equals z squared by the Pythagorean theorem. So the hypotenuse is the square root of x squared plus y squared. So it said what is the cosine of alpha. So in the drawing, you'll notice I have a alpha here. So the opposite leg would be x. The adjacent leg would be the y. So the correct answer was y over the square root of x squared plus y squared, which is G. Okay, the next item says the first and second terms of a geometric sequence are A and AB in that order. What's the 643rd term of the sequence? Well, first of all, A is your first term, and AB is your second term, so that means your common ratio is B. So you are multiplying by B over and over again, and really the only answer that multiplied by just the B over and over again is E. So E has to be the correct answer. And if you'll use the formula for the geometric sequence, A is your first term multiplied by B to the n minus 1, which is why that number is a 642 for that exponent. For number 8, if B is equal to A plus 3 and A minus B to the 4. So if B is equal to A plus 3, that means A minus B would be negative 3. If you raise a negative 3 to the 4th power, you get 81. So the correct answer was F. On number 9, the determinant of a matrix, what would be the determinant of this? You will write x squared minus 8x equals negative 16. If you'll add 16 to both sides, you get a quadratic trinomial that you can factor into x minus 4 times x minus 4, and you set each factor equal to 0 and solve, but since they're the same, you just get one answer, which is 4. So the correct answer was E. So the next one says, according to the measurements given in the figure, which expression gives the distance from the boat to the dock? So that's a leg. Well, you'll notice here that we have a leg labeled 30 and another leg that we're looking for. So it's either going to be, well, it's actually got to be F because it's the only one that uses the two legs and does not use the hypotenuse at all. So the correct answer was F. For this problem, it looked really challenging, but you'll notice you have a side angle side, so that's telling you to use the law of cosines. And so the only one that has the law of cosines in it is answer choice E, so that was the correct answer. If the sine is 4/5 and theta is between pi over 2 and pi, then what is the tangent? The best thing to do for this problem is to sketch a picture. Since the sine of theta is 4/5, and I didn't draw it in there, but theta is that angle closest to the origin, the opposite leg would be the vertical side 4, and the hypotenuse would be 5. So if that's true and I need the tangent, then I need the adjacent leg. You'll notice the adjacent leg is 3. This is a 3, 4, 5 right triangle. You can use the Pythagorean theorem, but hopefully you already know that's a 3. It is negative because we're in the second quadrant between pi over 2 and pi. So the answer is tangent of theta would be opposite leg 4 over the adjacent leg negative 3, so that has to be G. Number 13, a circle in standard position is tangent to the x-axis at 4. It is tangent to the y-axis at 4, which is the equation of the circle. Again, make a sketch of this to make sense of it. Once you sketch the picture, you'll see that the radius of the circle is 4, and that means the number at the end should be 16. Since the center is at 4, 4, the correct answer was D, x minus 4 squared plus y minus 4 squared equals 16. Which expression is a polynomial factor of x to the 16th minus 16? And so you'll see a to the 16th minus 16, that's the difference of two squares. So we factor a to the 8th minus 4 times a to the 8th plus 4. Neither of those factors are listed, so we can factor again a to the 8th minus 4 by doing difference of squares again. A to the 4th minus 2, a to the 4th plus 2, and then this factor. So a to the 4th plus 2 was one of the answer choices. So H was the correct answer. What is the fourth term in the arithmetic sequence? This is a simple one. You're simply decreasing 3 each time. So 7 minus 3 is 4. The answer choice is C. For a quadratic equation, these are the solutions. You could graph all your answers to find your solution, but there's really a smarter way to do this problem. Since x is equal to 3/4, that means 4x must equal 3 if you multiply by 4, and 4x minus 3 would be 0. If x equals negative 2/5, then 5x equals negative 2, so 5x plus 2 would equal 0. So the two factors were 4x minus 3 and 5x plus 2, which is F. If x is between, not theta, but x is between 0 and 90, that means it's in the first quadrant, and the tangent is 15/8, then what is the cosine? Again, just sketch it, and you'll know immediately the answer. If tangent of x is 15/8, the 15 would be your opposite leg, and 8 would be your adjacent leg, so the hypotenuse would have to be 17. You can do the Pythagorean theorem, but hopefully you know this triple as well. If not, you can see 17 is the only other number in the answers. So the answer is cosine of x, so that would be 8/17. So the correct answer was A. The next one says, what is the tangent of mu? Well, if you'll notice, the x and the y are the same number, so opposite and adjacent would both be the same number, and that gives you a 1. So the correct answer was H. If the log base 4 of x is 3, then what's x? Well, 4 to the third power, if you write this in exponential form, 4 to the third power is x, so 4 times 4 times 4 would be 64, so the answer was D. And then the last question, which measured from a point on the ground is a certain distance. It's giving you the angle of elevation is 41. So you would do opposite leg, which is 200 over adjacent leg. But you'll notice tangent would be 200 over the adjacent leg. That would not work for answer choice F. The x would have to be the opposite leg, and the adjacent leg would have to be the 200. So you can't choose F, so you'll have to choose K, which is the reciprocal cotangent. So the correct answer was K.